Moms Without Time podcast. It's all too much and not enough at the same time.
Hello and welcome to Moms Without Time podcast, a show where two moms share their own experiences, thoughts, ideas, and tips on all things being a mom.
We recorded our postpartum episode, and it went so long that we broke it up. We talk a lot.
Yeah, it seems like we need it.
I know we're venting. Right
I fired my therapist, but now I'm doing a podcast.
There we go. This is our therapy here. So hopefully you tune into both.
I don't know, y'all, but
yeah,
I look like a freaking blowfish. Like
the
pictures. No, Melissa, I'm gonna have to show you a picture after this episode. It was disgusting.
What was disgusting?
The way I looked
after birth.
Yes, all the fluids that they had to push in me.
Were you bloated?
It was gross. I couldn't take a family picture.
Aww.
It was disgusting. But it's okay. I don't know. What helped me during the hospital stay was just Victor. 100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Victor did not sleep. Nope, not even an hour.
Jonathan
not even
Jonathan.
But I think it's like I didn't let him because
you couldn't be awake.
What I went through, like I'm telling you, I would knock out.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm a heavy sleeper, but I would knock out, and I'd be like feeling so guilty that I slept 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
And that they had to be forcing me to get up, and I'm like, I need to be here for my baby, but my body is like drained.
Yeah.
Victor did not sleep. At one point, Millie had to get in that photo. What is it called? The photo, that light.
Oh, the blue light.
And I think that's the only time that Victor that he got to sleep was when I was like just standing for 2 hours, like right there in pain. I was like, but I'm gonna stand next to my baby and put the passy back in her mouth every time she wakes up.
Shout out to the husbands, because postpartum, they step it up for sure.
He did all the diaper changes in the hospital. I got home and I was like, wait, has she pooped yet?
Did I even change a diaper?
Right. And he had done all of it.
Oh.
He had done all of it.
Look at that. For me, the traumatizing part was after Juliet.
Mm-hmm.
A week after she was born. Because, it was since she was during the pandemic, they were trying to get us out fast, right? And usually you stay like 2 or 3 days. Mm-hmm. For Juliet, I had her, and I was home the next day. I don't know if you were.
Yeah, I had to stay there 4 days.
Yeah, I should have stayed there longer.
Yeah.
So they kicked me out the next day, and I have that history of preeclampsia. Not that they kicked me out the next day. I kind of wanted to go home, too, because I had Maya. So they were like, if you're comfortable, you can go home. And I'm like, well, if my doctor... I'm like, if my doctor says that I can go home, then that's fine. When I was discharged, like when I was getting ready to leave, they were like, oh, we're just waiting for the doctor to put the order in. And I'm like, I thought you said that they okayed it, And apparently he didn't, because that morning he had come in and told me that he would see me the next day. So that morning he told me he would see me the next day, and then the nurse was like, you can go home today if you want. I'm like, well, my doctor said he would see me tomorrow. Oh no, he said it's okay for you to go home today. But he hadn't even put the order in. It's so weird. But so the next week, I started feeling like the craziest symptoms. Like I was getting really, really bad chills. Like my whole body just like shaking, And then I would lay in bed after I put Juliet down, and I could literally feel, I don't know why I didn't think about it then, but I could feel my heart beating, and it was literally like, boom. Bum. And I didn't think anything of it. And you're just all over the place after birth. I didn't think anything of it. Apparently my heart rate had been down in the 40s and 50s.
Wow.
Like really, really low. And by I think day 7, I started getting really bad headaches, and I'm like, okay, let me check my blood pressure. My blood pressure was fine and even low in the hospital. Mm-hmm. So I started checking my blood pressure, and I noticed it was going up and up and up. And then all of a sudden, it was like 180 over 90. And I'm texting my friend who's also a nurse. I'm like, hey, this is what it's doing. And she's like, you need to go to the ER. And so which I knew I needed to go to the ER, but I didn't want to go to the ER because I literally had a newborn at home, you know, and I'm about to go back into the hospital without her, you know? And so it wasn't until like I started feeling nauseous, but also like I had like a burning in my abdomen, and it literally felt like I was dying. Like I was like, Jonathan, you need to take me to the hospital right now, because I was about to either pass out, my head wouldn't stop throbbing. I felt that weird like burning sensation in like my upper abdomen, like right underneath my heart, and it literally just felt like it was an impending doom. Have you heard that? So impending doom is like you feel like you're dying. That's how I felt, and everything like flashed before my eyes. All I could think about was my babies. All I could think about was like Jonathan being like at home with them without me, and them mourning me. Like literally, bro, I thought I was about to die. That's how bad I felt. So when I got to the ER, the worst part about it is this is pandemic times. Jonathan couldn't go in there with me. I was literally walking in there by myself. And, you know, the good thing is I was able to tell them, like, I'm postpartum and my blood pressure is high. I had preeclampsia, and I think this is postpartum preeclampsia, which is like extremely rare. It doesn't happen a lot. And if it does, it is very dangerous.
Yeah.
I could have been having seizures. That's how bad it was. And so, you know, in the ER, and I've been in the ER many times, and they take their time, and, you know, of course they kind of triage to see what happens. But as soon as I told them like what was going on, it was back to back. Like they were treating me fast, and I got a room so fast. And I was there for like 2 days without my baby pumping. Like Jonathan was at home with Maya and Juliet. And I was just like so like they had to give me medicine to like prevent me from having seizures and get my blood pressure back down. And that medication made me so sleepy and like groggy, and like I could barely even lift up my head. But I remember like even in that time, like I was still logging in my phone, checking my cameras, checking on my babies, like always in the front of my mind. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like going through that, like knowing that Maya was preeclampsia, Juliet was early, not preeclampsia, but postpartum preeclampsia. It like makes me think like, should I have a third? You know, like that's basically my body saying like,
chill out.
Like you shouldn't be pregnant.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. So
yeah, she told no.
Yeah, here I am. But yeah, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just relived that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad. And still to this day, I actually have episodes of my blood pressure getting high. So
yeah, because I follow like an account on Instagram where it's like advocates for the one and done. But a lot of the stories are that most women who are one and done are preeclampsia births. You know, like they had preeclampsia during their labor and almost lost their life giving birth, and so they're doing.
My doctor's like, nah, you'll be fine. He literally is like, I asked him like at my follow up, my 2-week or 3-week follow up. I'm like, so like not that I was thinking about kids, but you know, kind of ask those questions. I'm like, well,
to be ready or prepared.
Yeah, or like, so does that mean I can't have any more kids because this happened? And he's like, no, we'll just be careful. And I'm like,
I don't know, but I hate doctors. Like, so I forgot to add that to my story. My doctor had an emergency. Apparently, like nobody could put down her child. Like she had also like maybe a baby. Like I wouldn't say a baby, but like maybe 10-month-old or something at home during the winter storm, and so she had to leave her shift to go and deal with this emergency that she said she's like, I would never do that. I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
But I have to go. It's an emergency.
So you had another doctor?
I had a midwife who delivered Millie. There was no doctor on the floor for hours. Also, I was discharged the moment I got to my room. But then but Millie's bilirubin levels kept going down. And the only thing that kept me in the hospital was Millie. Because I had this one doctor, and I completely like remember him coming into the room. okay, I already discharged you all the time. And I'm like,
okay. Yeah.
I'm still here because of her.
Yeah, with Maya, I had the extra day too because she was jaundiced and had to go under the light and everything.
Yeah, so.
Anyways, not to traumatize y'all with our stories.
There's so much to postpartum.
There's so much.
We were like, this is going to be an easy, fast episode.
Yeah, well, I didn't know I was going to go into all that, but that's fine. So, basically, you never know what to expect, but you just got to go in there and do your best. There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah. What would be my advice to someone who hasn't had a child before? It's like you have to be your own advocate.
For sure.
Your husband will not be because he cannot do much. He is powerless. The only thing he could do is like hold your leg up. But
well, because he also doesn't know what you're going through.
No, but even like he could see it. Like I know that Victor's eyes would tell me everything. Like he's like, whoa, you know
he's
what
like
I mean?
Scared.
But there was like what would he say? Like you know what I mean?
There was something.
Right. There was, and then the nurse should, she did I think the best that she could too within her control. There's guidelines, whatever, policy, but you can be your own. You can just have to be your own advocate.
Yeah,
I don't know.
For sure. No. Yep. Speak up. Always speak up. That's.
I think that's what I was scared of speaking up because I did feel like what they were telling me was true. Like I'm being inconsiderate. You know what I mean? Or I was like being too much. I was like maybe I'm just overthinking this, like pain.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And that's what like worries me about people who are like not in the medical field. Like, do they even know when they're supposed to speak up? Like, do you even know that something is actually wrong? You know what I mean? And, the majority of nurses are like amazing and know how to do their job well and catch all these things and save lives. Like, I know that for sure, 100%. But, like, at the same time, like, the normal people that don't know, they just don't know. Yeah. So you do have to give that extra loving care to each and every patient. Right.
Yeah. Not sour to the nurse. Like I said, I think they did the most that they could within their control.
And you had a different situation too because of the ice storm.
I was gonna say, like, I did sense that their personal life was a little too much in their work at that,
Yeah, because they were worried about their family.
They were worried about their families and stuff and, whatever. And so, like, cool. Like, that's just, like, a rare situation, it doesn't happen every day. And it's just what I had to go through, and it's totally fine.
Yeah.
But it is still
what it is. It's what happened to you.
It still factors in the fact that I don't think that birth would have been any easier either, though. Like, I mean, even if they would have pampered me and flipped me over every freaking 30 minutes, Millie wasn't ready to come, and it was just going to be challenging to take her out. So
yeah, I will say I had like pretty awesome nurses all the way around. So sorry.
Yeah. So we'll see in the next episode of Will Monica Have a Kid? Another one.
Anyways, no one tells you what to expect or what I wish I knew is that TMI, that first bowel movement.
Oh gosh, yes. And I'm telling you, I don't know officially like the tear, like the degree. Nobody wanted to speak about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to ask or if they're supposed to tell me. That's another thing. I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was bad.
That first bowel movement sucks. It hurts.
I was like, you know what? I'll hold it in for the rest of my life. The pain, but also like if you're on meds, it just feels weird.
Yeah.
It felt abnormal.
Yeah.
Coming out. I was like, you sure it's coming?
Like, it's so hard. Literally.
But yeah. And the blood kind of scares you. I mean, all that. Look, I don't know. It's just nobody factors some of that stuff. And like it's logical once you've already been through. You're like, oh, duh. That part of my body's going to be a little affected.
Yeah.
But, you know, you don't.
It's so tender and sore and hurts. And oh my gosh. But drink plenty of water, guys. More fiber.
Oh my
Well, so we ranted, and I'm sorry about that.
I know. How much are we going?
I don't know, but okay. So one thing postpartum that I did want to talk about is obviously the baby blues, postpartum depression or anxiety. I think if you're listening to us and you've gotten this far and you're either pregnant or a brand new mom, I think it's important to look up those symptoms of postpartum depression and baby blues just for yourself. I did, well, I already knew what they were, but like I made sure to educate my husband on it. So I made sure to tell Jonathan, like, hey, if you see me like crying a lot, if you see me like just not present, if you see that I'm not like I don't seem like I have any joy, or those kinds of depression types of symptoms, like I want you to speak up for me and get me help, because I might deny it or like not even realize it, and I think I like traumatized him at the beginning, because he was very like vigilant, like
he was like analyzing you.
He was very, very vigilant, and I think to prevent me from like, not that he alone could prevent postpartum depression or anything, because a lot of it's hormones.
He's gonna cure it.
Yeah, he did go above and beyond during the postpartum period, to where like I had so much support and so much help from him that like that really helped.
Yeah.
Despite the hormonal things that I was feeling and all that. So just make sure you talk to your partner about that.
Okay, so side note on this. So I didn't educate Victor about that. I don't think I educated myself enough. I know about it, like 100%. I know I read about it. I don't know how much of an education I had on it, but I was aware that it could happen. I know it was severe. Thankfully, even like during postpartum, I was like actively engaging on those type of like threads and stuff like that, like listening to stories so that I could be still like hyper aware. But I don't think I ever educated Victor on it enough. But the fact that he saw how bad my birth was, that he was already like on that, like
I'm gonna go above and beyond for you.
Yeah. So thankfully that happened to me, because I guess one thing with me is that I went to my 6-week postpartum checkup, and I scored really high on my PPD, PPD, right? And so they told me, they're like, you scored severely high, and they were like, we want to talk about meds, is the first thing that they offered me. And I was like, I don't want to be on no meds. They're like, how are you feeling? Can you tell us like what's causing this? And I'm like, you guys ask me questions, can I leave? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I already answered the questions. I don't want to answer the questions in front of your face. It's already bad that I had to like log it into the freaking iPad, And so I was like, I don't have nothing to talk about. And they kind of felt that I was being like, what's that word? Kind of like, hard, you know what I mean? Like hard to like communicate. That is one of the symptoms that they felt like was a sign, So they were like, well, I think we should talk about medication, and if you don't want medication, we should just at least you should go and to therapy. So they did do a referral, and then it took me a while to like consider the referral, but I also didn't want to like leave Millie for any period of time to go do this. So I eventually got an app, and I did like a counseling sesh on the app and stuff like that. So I did end up firing my therapist, but it's because that, looking back, I realized like I was like, I wouldn't say like actually I didn't have a diagnosis or anything. I'm gonna say that I survived PPD, but I was pretty severely into depression at that moment, because I was very defensive about it, like 100%. Like I was defensive with Victor about it. I was even like fighting myself on it. I fought my doctor. I was very mad at my doctor.
Like saying that you even have it? Yeah,
I was just like, I answered these questions. I don't need to talk about this anymore. Like that, and they didn't like that. They were like, we need to talk about it. And I was like, no, because I already answered these questions. And then my therapist said something that really pissed me off, and then I was done with her too. And it wasn't until a while later that I was like talking to Victor, and he was like, yeah, first of all, you need to chill. Like, he didn't know how else to say it, but he was like, you need to just like I don't know, go find something and like write it down, go talk about it, go do something, but you need to do something about how you're feeling, because then eventually it's going to affect you and Millie. Thankfully it never got to the point where I was like not interested in being with Millie, or it didn't take away from my presence with her. But I was very defensive about it for a while. And I think, like, looking back, it could be just like the postpartum blues. But I'm glad that it's just my personality. Looking back, I'm like, it's my personality. I just don't want to talk about it, you know? I'm like, I do not want to talk about it. I don't have time for
childhood traumas of not talking about our emotions always.
Eventually, I did get better about telling Victor and texting Melissa about, like, how I felt, like, being exhausted and feeling like it wasn't enough. I finally spoke out one night and told Victor, like, you need to feed her at night. I cannot go on this much longer. Like, I need a pump. And I have to do a Partum because I'm building my supply. And I tried to explain it to him. You need to wake up now. Okay, I cannot do it. You know, he didn't know. He didn't know that I needed that. And that was what's making me drown. Like, I was literally, like, drowning. And the idea of, like, I had to be the one to do it all. And he didn't know that I was not okay with that. So, but I didn't, one thing that not going back to, like, bashing on the medical field, but they never followed up with me. They did the referral. And my doctor, my OB-GYN, never called me back to ask if I was still alive. You know, she didn't say, hey, she didn't schedule a follow-up saying, let's do another questionnaire again and see how if your levels go down. Never. And I just think that sucks. Like,
it's so hard for me. Like, I am, like, how can I say this? Like, I'm very protective of the health field, obviously, because I'm a nurse, you know? And so I hate to, like, ever, like, bash or whatever. And I don't think we're doing that. But I do see, like, both sides of everything, you know, because I do both sides of everything. I am a mom, and I've seen that side where you kind of feel a little neglected. But then at the same time, I see the side of, like, the healthcare workers and everything that they do try to do, but they can't do it all. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the system is not in favor of providing everything for the moms. You know what I mean? Like, that has to change. It's not, like, it's on everyone to change that. You know what I mean? Like, moms need to advocate more of what we need, what we were missing, so that the healthcare workers know. And at the same time, the healthcare workers need to, like, say, hey, like, I'm noticing this. We aren't educating. Like, I know when I'm not educating my patients, and I know when they need more. And sometimes you're just, like, so busy in everything that you have going on that you can't even begin to do that, you know? But definitely, like, and I'm glad we're starting to see a shift in, like, more people paying attention to postpartum depression, but it's not enough. You know, it's really not enough. And it's, like, there's so many things regarding being a new mom, whether it's breastfeeding, whether it's things to expect with sleep, how to treat a newborn baby, what to expect postpartum. Like, who's gonna teach you that? You know what I mean?
I think, no, this is not, like, to say, like, I work in the healthcare field, not clinically related. At one point wanted to and did for a few years, but that's not to say, like, they did the worst, like, they're not doing their job. 100%, I do think there should be some, if there was a, like, for example, the Joint Commission all of a sudden ordered that, then they would do it. But the only problem is that it just needs to be more, like, like, there was just no empathy. You know what I mean? That's what's missing, I think, in that section. I don't, has nothing to do with the fact that my OB-GYN has, like, 50, patients.
Even if your doctor didn't call you, there could have been a nurse. There could have been an MA.
Or even
secretary.
The CSA sending them. You know what I'm saying? I do think it comes back to being, like, if there was a regulation, like, that is what serves as a reminder to remember, hey, we need to follow up on that. Totally fine. Like, I don't, like I said, I don't hold a grudge on that. I just do think that could have been better, because thankfully I didn't have, like, PPD and it didn't get severe. But people do get to the point where they're, like, about to, like, in their life.
Yeah.
And there was no follow-up. And, like, that's what scares me. You know what I'm saying? I think that's
what I'm saying,
like,
too. It scares me a lot that there's, like, all these people that are not healthcare. Yeah. And, like, me with my postpartum preeclampsia, had it been someone that didn't know how to look for the signs, I could have died.
Yeah.
If I didn't know, I could have died because it wouldn't have been caught. I would have just probably gone and went to sleep, had a seizure. But it's like, at the same time, I'm like, I guess they could have known to educate me if I wasn't in the health field on what to expect, if that could happen, because I do have a history of preeclampsia. Yeah. But no one ever told me.
But even with that, like, just to, like, I think to protect you, also, like, why would somebody to take it to that extreme to be like, hey, you need to be, like, super vigilant about, you know what I'm saying? Like, I also, like, I think doctors also do it, they don't withhold information, they just don't want to over inform you, and then you become hypersensitive to that idea. So I do think that she did, like, she was like, it's like, hey, she did her job. She said, hey, your questionnaire was severely, like, scored high. We didn't talk about it, and I was also very defensive, so that's like my fault. My bad.
It's a sensitive subject for sure, and I don't want to I don't want anybody to feel like we are saying that people don't do their jobs, because they do. And like I said, I have to be, like, on both sides of the things, but, like, moms also need more. Yeah. Bottom line, like, for sure.
For sure. This is not Switzerland. I don't know. Whatever. Australia.
I'm Switzerland.
But no, but
Australia. Oh my God. Oh my God. No,
It's hard. Like, you didn't go through it. I didn't. I mean, like, not that you didn't go through it, but we all go through the baby blues, and that's where it starts. Yeah. And some people go through PPD, and it's real. What we had, anxiety. Yeah. And I don't know if that's even part of the section, but that's where the symptoms, like, wherever the symptoms were, like, at the top of it, symptoms for anxiety. So I was, like, really heavy into, like, listening to podcasts. What really kept me real, like, I think, like, awake, you know, like, hey, you need to be active and, like, listen to yourself, because I was trying not to, was listening to podcasts and hearing other moms and stuff like that. And one podcast, it's actually conducted by, like, a psychologist. So she happens to be a mom, so it's, like, a lot about, like, you know, mom related stuff. But she talked about postpartum anxiety, and, like, one of the signs being, like, that you have, like, kind of these thoughts, like, of harmful things actually happen to you or your baby, or, like, something like that. And so I had that 100%.
Like, something's gonna happen to Millie.
Yes, no, I would get in the car with Millie, and I would, in a blink of an eye, I was seeing a car hit us. I swear to you, I would see a car hit us. I was dead, and Millie was sitting in the car seat, crying and crying and crying. Nobody came to her. I could see that, and within 5 seconds of me getting into the car seat and into the car. Yeah. And that, you know, thankfully, I was like, I have to do this. I have to drive. I cannot be, like, you know, chained up to my fear. And, like, I have to do it. You know, I have to get here. I have to get there. But, yeah, no, that happened a lot. Like, it still happens to me. I
still see that a little bit with you, both you and Victor, too. You guys are very, like, I mean, Jonathan and I are helicopter parents, but you guys are like, what's worse than a helicopter?
Millie made a sound, and I'm like, is she?
Get her. You hold her hand. She's right there. Y'all are cute. No, but yeah, the anxiety is really bad. I had the anxiety too. Not diagnosed or anything, but I know that I had it. Yeah. It's like everything had to be perfect. You know, everything was my fault. Like, blaming myself for everything if something went wrong, if her naps went wrong. Like, so much anxiety over how she slept, when she slept, how perfect it had to be. And, like, I think postpartum anxiety is a lot more common than people even talk about. Like, you hear more about the postpartum depression, but you don't hear a lot about the postpartum anxiety. And it's hard to have to, like, try to get yourself out of that. Yeah. Especially if you don't know that it's happening to you.
With postpartum anxiety, I think that was one of the factors for, like, my relationship with Victor being so tense, because I just like my what is that word? Not my ego, but you know what I mean, like your pride, because the anxiety is happening, but you also you feel like you don't have to apologize for that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You can be a B because it is happening to you and it's real, and you're just doing what is best for your baby. So I feel like in that sense, it kind of like mixed in together. And it didn't like really like because Victor wasn't experiencing that anxiety, but I do also feel like I kind of caused it in him.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I had him on his toes all the time.
Same, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Jonathan now is a lot more anxious about our kids than he probably was at the beginning,
Yeah, 100%. Because Victor will say things like, he would say, she's a baby, she's gonna cry. And I'd be like, oh, hell no. Like that, like, no, that's not true. Like, we're about to pick her up and she's never gonna cry for the rest. Like, I'm never gonna hear her cry, even at her wedding.
No,
like,
that's a trigger. That's a trigger. My baby's crying were such an anxiety trigger for me.
Yes.
Like, I could not let them cry.
They still are.
Because I would just, like, over the top be anxious. Why? Why is this happening?
Yes.
You know? Man, I feel like we're a mess.
It's that childhood trauma.
Oh my gosh. Again, is everybody like this or is it just us?
Right, here's a poll. Another part about postpartum that we wanted to talk about is like the physical part of postpartum, because we talked about like the emotional, the hormones.
So what physical changes your body goes through?
Yes, exactly, that physical.
Yeah, it's so much.
I think for a lot of moms, like, they weren't expecting as much change. I mean, there's my belly's going to be round for 9 months, and then it's going to not be round for 9 months. But it doesn't actually happen that way. Yeah,
the unrealistic expectation that, like, you're not going to have a belly at all.
Or the fact that, like, we, as a society, like, we think of that all the time. We're like, that the whole, like, bounce back movement.
Yeah, that has to be so quick.
Yeah, that it has to be so quick. Yeah. And realistically, like, it takes at least a year for all of that to go away from your body. Like, I heard something about after you're done breastfeeding completely, it still takes you up to between 6 to 8 months for your body to release those hormones, like to completely like go back to the normal level. Yeah. And I believe that to be true because I'm not having pumps like in a month. Okay, so I'm completely been done a month. But still, when I hold Millie, at times where she's like,
you feel let down
fussy,
or something.
Yeah, I feel the letdown.
Yeah.
And it still happens.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like, it is definitely a slow comeback.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't be some like pressure to have a comeback, but I guess these are some of the things we should expect.
Yeah.
After having, birthed a baby would be like, one, that you're gonna pee yourself if you laugh too hard is a freaking fact.
Bro, it's the worst.
I went to.
It's the worst.
After like a couple months of work, postpartum, I went to go work out to like the same workout that I had done before, and I had to go to the restroom like 5 to 6 times because I was like, dude, I'm peeing on myself. Practically peeing on myself.
It's so funny because sometimes I'll have to tell Jonathan, like, I literally just sneezed and I peed on myself, like, or I coughed and I peed on myself. You need to do those Kegels, ladies. Not that I do them all the time, but even if I do them, I'm still peeing on myself. It's horrible, the things that we have to go through.
So it's a fact that's going to happen. Not that it like will happen forever. I would say like now I can hold it up for, but before, not even that.
Yeah.
I was like Victor.
Yeah.
don't
No. And then your belly, like, I still like. Well, I mean, I can't even say that I'm like trying really hard to get a flat belly or anything, but definitely a lot more looser in some areas.
Yeah, well, I was like super skinny.
Yeah, you were tiny.
I was like less than 100 pounds, a 00 before I got pregnant, and I can't see myself like going back to that.
Yeah.
Even if I did like work out and eat healthy like I should be.
Yeah.
But nah, like there's no way. There's parts of my body that need some of that extra cushion too.
And your body changes like a lot, like the way your pelvis is like shaped, the way your pelvis is like tilted, and the way we stand, it's like completely different.
The back pain is part of like postpartum. Like you don't realize, like, I don't know, I guess if when you get an epidural, I feel like there's like some of the like
leftover
consequences to that. So I had like a lot of back pain already prior to, but now it's like severe sometimes. Sciatic pain came back.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just like a mom. I mean, like, it's just the definition of like your mom. You're just like, you look like a 65-year-old woman, but you're
See,
not.
that's why I don't like those mom jeans, like, because it shows the pouch.
But see, you have to embrace the pouch.
There's no way I'm not ready to embrace the pouch.
We can't get past that like stigma until we embrace it. So we're only gonna add to the negative stigma of like your body needs to be this certain way unless moms like are okay with showing their bodies. That's what, and I'm not like the best advocate because I was again a 00, so like my weight compared to like other people's weight could be different, you know what I mean?
No, but that's
they went from like being heavy to being heavier, which is like I know a completely different thought, but I'm like,
yeah, but for you it's like I guess even more of an advocate because your body is so differently changed.
Right.
Like it's so like you had
I didn't have a pouch before.
Yeah, you were tiny. You were tiny, and now I mean you're beautiful. So it's like whatever.
So embrace a pouch. Wear the mom jeans. Wear the mom jeans.
I am wearing mom
jeans.
jeans.
The French tuck. She hates it.
Oh, it's because I'm a different like we said. I'm 7 years older than you, and I'm like used to like everything was freaking tight. Like,
oh, that's true. I'm so glad that I got pregnant and gave birth during a pandemic where the trend came back, like oversized everything.
Yeah.
That has been my friend. I'm like, is this oversized? Buying it. It's kind of an excuse to, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of an excuse to be like a little unhealthy too, because you're like, what bounce ball, like oversize everything.
Oh, one thing about if you're breastfeeding, sorry, this just popped into my mind. Oops, I'm being loud. Is that the hunger that you get. Like
it is unreal.
It's unreal how hungry, especially if you're breastfeeding, like so much food, like you feel like you can't stop eating. Yeah. And that's not healthy too because you really only need like 300 extra calories a day when you're breastfeeding.
Until this day, Victor would be like, you're lying. You cannot be hungry. I'm like, I just pumped.
Yeah.
Like I could have been pumping during my lunch and I ate. But once I'm done emptying, like, no, I need to eat again.
Yeah, or drink like a whole bunch of water.
I will literally feel like, I feel nauseous. Like, if my sugar, you know what I mean? Like, if my sugar's low.
Yeah.
But I have no excuse, no.
Oh, gosh. Let's see.
What's another? Hair loss. That's very typical. So.
Yeah. My hair thins so bad right at the hairline.
I didn't even think that was a thing until I think you mentioned it. Because you're 2 months ahead of me on that. So I think you were losing your hair, and I was like, Melissa finally got a forehead.
I actually have a forehead now. Like, after 2 kids, the forehead remained. Which is nice, because I did not have a forehead before. Wow.
Yeah, I think
I've been looking at pictures of myself, and I'm like, dang, my forehead is big now.
Some people, like, lose hair, like, here, though.
Yeah.
Or that
just different places,
out.
Yeah.
So it's just like hair loss is a thing.
Hair loss is a thing. The other part of physical activity. If you know what I'm talking about.
The 6
week wait.
6 week checkup.
For Maya, my husband probably doesn't want me talking about this, but man, that was kind of rough.
We're looking to the side.
Well, because with her, this when they cut me. So when they sewed me back up, TMI, I feel like they didn't do it like correctly or something. Like I felt like I had like a little ball down there. Like if you
because there's scar tissue when they have to.
No, but like imagine like when you zip up a zipper. This is a weird way to put it out. When you zip up a zipper and it evenly matches. Well, when the zipper gets stuck and like a part of it moves up, and so you try to zip it up and there's a little pocket that stays. It wasn't even. I think that's how it was for me with Maya, and so after the 6 week wait,
did it rip again with Juliet?
Yes, naturally with Juliet, it ripped naturally.
Maybe me fixed it this time.
Yeah, because I ain't had no problem with Juliet. I ain't had no problem with the 6 week wait.
I don't, honestly,
My husband edits these videos, so.
I know, he's going to take the whole thing out. I don't think that I had a, like, I was more just, like, mentally scared. I was, like, in my head.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, God, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. But.
It wasn't too bad.
No, I don't think so.
Ugh. So, yeah, just when you're ready, ladies, don't rush it.
I can't remember if I did, like, right after 6 weeks or if I waited a little longer.
Yeah.
But after the first, I was just like, whatever.
No, with Maya, honestly, with Maya, there was something wrong down there. Like, I honestly thought, like, there was something wrong.
I will say, it sucks to say this because I want to be, like, open, but then, like, my brother-in-law sitting right there. So, sorry. But dryness, I don't know if, like, for you, like, after giving birth, I felt, like, a little more, like, that was an issue for me.
Yeah.
But I kind of hate that. Because I'm so freaking young, and I'm like... But I googled it and it's like, oh, it's a normal. And I'm like, oh.
You know, it's just not right. First of all, it is not right that we have to go through our whole lives having periods every freaking month. That we have to go through pregnancy and then labor and breastfeeding, and these men just get to sleep 6 hours straight every night. How can they even sleep? Like, do they not feel
I'm
bad?
sorry, like, to be so blunt, but their balls didn't grow any heavier when we got pregnant. Like, didn't have to carry an extra sack. You know what I'm saying?
It's just, it ain't fair. But, you know what? I'm going to say our husbands make up for it. Jonathan makes up for it. He does good with these girls. They love him so much. I'll let him get away with it. But, yeah, it's just like we go through so much. And not even, like, just the physical aspect, but the emotional, like, the hormonal. Like, oh, my gosh. We were really cursed. Freaking Eve.
Why'd you eat that? That fruit.
Yeah, but, okay. We said we were going to keep this short, but, okay, mom guilt transition. So my mom guilt, and I actually cried about this the other day. Oh, remember this? So I cried about it to my husband, and then I was texting you about it.
She said, I already cried to Victor, just don't worry about it. It was her text back to me.
To Jonathan, not Victor.
Oh, sorry, to Victor. Yeah, to Jonathan, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because Monica, I was pouring my heart out to her, and then she didn't text me back, and I was like, you know what, I already done cried.
It was working, I'm sorry.
Okay, so what I'm talking about here is that we talked about how I don't co-sleep with my kids, right? With Maya, though, we still lay down in the bed with her and, like, go to sleep with her. And I do cuddle with her initially to go to sleep. But I always thought that I didn't co-sleep because it was safe sleep practices. And, you know, I was afraid. But I think I can't co-sleep because I can't cuddle. And I felt guilty about it the other day because... like, Maya just wants to cuddle with me, and, like, after a certain point, I'm like, you have to get off of me. Like, don't touch me. Like, you know, I don't want to cuddle anymore. And, like, the other night, she just kept waking up because she wanted to be in my arms. And I'm like, I cannot. I physically can't do it. And I don't know why. And I'm sure it has to do with childhood things and all that. But, like, my husband can literally, like, cradle the girls all night and sleep that way, and I cannot do it, and I'm the mama. Like, I'm supposed to be able to do that, you know what I mean? And I cannot cuddle my kids, and it makes me feel bad. And, like, I mean, I cuddle them, but I can't, like, prolonged cuddle them, if that makes sense. Like, I was telling Jonathan,
you can't, almost like you can't cuddle, just like cuddle, like what the word actually means. Like, oh, here's let's just cuddle. Like, you can hold them and hug them and give them the physical.
Yes. So, like, I have no doubt that my kids know that mommy loves them, and, like, they love me, and they get physical affection from me every single day. Kisses, hugs, holding, cuddle.
Cut off.
But there's a cutoff, especially at night, for sleeping. Right. Basically, I'm talking about sleeping. I cannot sleep with them in my arms and cuddle them while asleep. even Maya as a 3-year-old.
It hurts your shoulders, just if you ever want to know. It just hurts a lot, so I think you're just lucky.
Because I guess I felt so bad because Maya started crying. And I'm like, Maya, you have to sleep by yourself.
No.
I told her that. Yeah.
I see. Did I miss that?
No, I don't think I told you that. I don't think I told you that. But like, I was, not that I was mean about it, but I was like very stern. Like, I can't hold you right now. You need to go to sleep by yourself.
That really hurts. Sorry.
Yeah. So like, I felt really bad about it. And I'm like, what is wrong with me that I can't just like hold her and fall asleep?
Yeah, that's definitely a mom guilt because I as an outsider, of course,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you give like plenty of love
Mm-hmm.
and hugs and kisses and all
For
of
sure.
that.
I know I do. And I know that they know that I love them and all that, but it's like this one thing I can't do it.
But you can get better at it, I think.
I don't know.
I think it's one of those
I don't know because my husband
like
complains that I don't cuddle him enough.
but it's there's like a medical term. I don't know the name of it anymore, but like whenever you expose those neurons to so much repetitive
Mm-hmm.
sensory, that they eventually get accustomed to it. So you just gotta you just have to make sure that like cut up boundary just keeps pushing further and further. Like even if it makes you uncomfortable, do
sleep.
it 1 more minute.
I
Do
won't
it
sleep.
2 more minutes. You know.
I try. It's been 3 years.
I know. No, my mom guilt was like prior because we didn't do mom guilt for the last episode, but this episode is kind of just together with that, and it's that I feel like really guilty about inducing Millie. Not that you shouldn't do it. I'm not saying don't do it.
Yeah.
But I knew at that time, like during even experiencing the moment, I was like, this was not the right thing for us. Like, I could have waited, for sure. So that was my guilt. It didn't change her. Yeah. But
I get it. I get why you feel that way, and it's like, what could you have done? Because you're not the professional. You were guided that way.
Right. And I don't know if I would say that it does play a little bit of like the factor that I don't want to have another child.
Yeah.
Yet.
For sure.
But I don't think it's like this major thing either. Like,
yeah.
The next one, we just have to see.
I'm really excited. Oh my gosh. Sorry. We just found out that every time we hit the table, it like makes a noise. So we apologize if this audio is not to the best of its quality, guys. But I'm really excited that you're considering.
When I say considering, it's like about a 98%. Okay, but it is 1% lower than last week. So
98%.
That I'm not having a kid, another kid.
All right. Well, you know what? When next week it's gonna be 97. Just kidding. No, it's always your choice.
But that's how it happens. Yeah. I think. I don't know.
Well, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. And we really talked a lot. We enjoy each other's companies and talking about all this stuff and getting to hang out with the babies. And if you guys like how much we talk, just let us know that. Yes. If you don't like it, don't tell us anything.
Do not give us no thumbs down, please.
Yes.
We won't cry because we're psycho.
Yeah, y'all learned that already. So yes, thank you again. Go ahead and hit that like button.
Make sure you subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram at Moms Without Time.
Yes. See ya. Thank you for watching us here on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and follow us on Instagram at Moms Without Time.
For more information, visit our website at momswithouttime.com and email us at connect@momswithouttime.com.